Have you ever wondered how many times your smile hides the pain you feel? Sometimes, just because you're smiling doesn't mean you're happy. The truth is, only you and God know what you've been going through. Most of the time inside, you're shattered, but on the outside, you try to show the strength you wish you actually had. However, even amidst this inner chaos, there's one certainty that keeps you standing: what God has promised for your life. Hello everyone, I'm Henrique Magalhães, and today I'm here to guide and help you out of this dark hole. It could be tomorrow, or it could be in 10 years, but time doesn't matter. What He said will happen. That's why, no matter how many battles I face, I don't let myself be defeated. I know this storm will pass. I don't understand why there are so many difficulties now, but I fully trust in the plans God has for me. When victory finally arrives, all the tears, sleepless nights, and moments of anguish will make sense. All of this is part of God's process of preparing you. And when that day comes, those who doubted will witness your victory and will know it was God, not for my own glory, but for His glory. Until then, I stand firm with my head held high. Until then, I keep moving forward because life doesn't stop, and every challenge I face is like a refining process, shaping and preparing me for what is to come. The pain I feel now isn't in vain. It strengthens me, teaches me, and gives me perspective. I know that every difficulty has a purpose, even if at the moment I can't see it. There is profound wisdom in learning to trust the process, in accepting that the journey is just as important as the destination. And if we look closely, we'll see that it's often through suffering that we grow the most. Those sleepless nights, filled with doubts and fears, are moments when my faith is tested. But it's also in those nights that I cling even more to the promise, to the certainty that God is with me, even when I can't see or understand why. It's easy to get lost in the chaos, easy to doubt, easy to question, why me? But then I remember, it's not just about me. There's a greater purpose. The trials I face today are preparing me for the victories that will come tomorrow. Every tear I've shed, every time I've thought about giving up, every moment of despair, all of it is being used for something much greater than you can imagine. Life has its seasons. Sometimes we're in winter, where everything seems cold, lonely, stagnant. But winter doesn't last forever. Spring comes, and when it arrives, the seeds that were planted in pain and difficulty will start to bloom. Because that's how God works. He takes us through periods of growth, silence, struggle, so that we can be prepared for the harvest He has planned for you. I know that in the midst of trials, it's easy to feel alone. Sometimes, even those we love the most don't seem to understand what we're going through. But I don't let that bring me down because I understand that this journey is mine, personal. It's between me and God. And while the world may not see or understand what I'm living inside, I know God sees. He knows every pain, every doubt, every silent prayer made in the middle of the night, and He will not abandon me. I refuse to give up, to surrender to hopelessness, because I know the purpose is greater. The victory isn't just over external circumstances, but over my own soul, my own growth. Every time I face difficulty, I'm getting closer to becoming the person God wants me to be. I'm being transformed. And I know that in the end, when I look back, I'll see that every battle had its reason, every tear had its purpose. God never wastes pain. He uses it to strengthen us, to teach us, to prepare us. And that's what keeps me moving forward, even when everything inside me wants to stop. Because I know that when I finally reach victory, I'll look back and understand that every sacrifice, every moment of pain was necessary. Not just for external victory, but for the internal victory, for the transformation that would happen within me. Every trial is an opportunity for growth and maturity. And when those who doubted me see what God has done in my life, they'll know it wasn't by my strength, but by His hand. And that's what really matters. I don't seek glory for myself, but for God. Because it's He who sustains me. It's He who strengthens me. It's He who gives me this certainty, no matter how difficult the journey. Until that day comes, I keep walking. Sometimes with faltering steps, sometimes with a tired soul, but always with faith. The faith that God's promises never fail. The faith that, no matter how much I don't understand now, one day everything will make sense. And when that day comes, I'll know that every pain, every tear, every sleepless night was part of God's perfect plan for your life and mine. So, I keep moving forward, with my head held high, with a heart full of hope, because I know that in the end, victory will come. It won't be fast, nor will it be easy, but it will be certain. And when it arrives, I'll know that all the suffering I went through was just the prelude to a greater joy, a peace that surpasses all understanding. Because what God promises, He delivers. And it's that certainty that keeps me going, day after day. Now I want to speak to you watching this video. How have you been feeling lately? Have you been going through tough times? Maybe you're facing your own battles, the ones no one sees. Perhaps, like me, you're struggling inside, keeping a smile on your face but carrying a heavy heart. If that's your case, I understand you, and I want you to know that you're not alone in this. Many times we feel isolated in our pain, thinking that no one else could understand what we're going through. And the truth is, each of us has our own personal battles, unique ones, that only we and God can fully understand. But there is something that unites us. We all face challenges, and we are all capable of overcoming them, no matter how difficult they may seem. I know that in the middle of the storm, it's hard to see the calm that's coming. When we're in the middle of pain, it's hard to believe things will get better. Maybe you've asked yourself more than once, why is this happening to me? Or maybe you've felt too exhausted to go on. If that's your case, I tell you now, take a deep breath. Trust. Don't give up. The battles you're facing today don't define who you are, much less your future. God has plans for your life, and though it may be nearly impossible to believe that in the middle of hardship, that's precisely where faith is needed. It's in the darkest hours that the light of hope needs to shine the brightest. I know this may seem like a difficult word to accept, especially when everything around you seems to be falling apart. But I want you to believe one thing. Your story isn't over yet. What you're going through right now is just a page in the book of your life, and God is still writing. It could be that at this very moment, you're on the brink of despair. Maybe you're feeling tired, exhausted, with no strength to go on. But it's in these moments that we need to remember that our strength doesn't come from ourselves. There's something greater that sustains us, that pushes us to keep going, even when everything inside of us is screaming to give up. I know sometimes the road seems too long. I know sometimes the weight of situations can feel unbearable. But believe me, you're stronger than you think. The strength you need is already inside you, even if right now you can't perceive it. And that strength doesn't come from you alone. It comes from something much greater, from a promise that never fails. And if today you find yourself on your knees, tired and discouraged, remember that it's in that position that the most powerful prayer is made. It's in that moment that God hears you, even if no words come out of your mouth. Even if all you have to offer are tears, know that God understands what's in your heart. He sees beyond the words, beyond the surface. You may be going through a tough phase right now, but this phase will pass. The pain, no matter how intense, is not eternal. Believe me, the victory is already being prepared for you, even if you can't see it yet. God never leaves us in a battle without purpose. Every fight has a lesson. Every pain has a reason. And when you finally achieve that victory, you'll look back and understand the reason for every tear, for every difficult night. You'll realize that every moment of pain and doubt was shaping you, preparing you for something greater. Because God never places us in situations we can't handle, even when we feel like we're at our limit. He knows what we're capable of and gives us the strength we need to weather any storm. And remember, the storm may be strong, but it never lasts forever. When you finally come through this moment, you'll discover a strength within you that you may not have even known existed. You'll realize that the faith you cultivated during the darkest nights was what kept you standing. And when the sun rises again, you'll be stronger, more resilient, and more prepared for whatever comes next. Life is full of uncertainties, but there's one certainty we can cling to. God is with us in every battle. He's there when we fall, and He's there when we rise. And His plans for us are always greater than anything we could imagine. So don't give up now. Keep fighting, keep believing, because your victory is on the way.